Story time.
How's it going, everyone? This is Black Knight 657. For today's topic, I want to kind of stick around with the genre that I kind of been recently doing, which is like about, relationships, dating, like all that stuff, right? So for this one right here, which kind of been on my mind is, actually it's been always on my mind, and actually I hate it and everything, but basically of how these women nowadays are pretty much just giving themselves. Now I say nowadays though, but honestly, let's be real. That's been happening for generations, centuries, blah blah, all that stuff, where women are just giving themselves up. By that I mean they're selling themselves, or they're just willing to give it up for the guy because they want love, or they want some kind of like trade value, or they just want some kind of like validation. And I know that this has been obviously a issue for a long time. Of course, there's a lot of people who would disagree with that and say that it's making money, which, let's be real here, and here, even I can admit this too, which I kind of hate, but sex does sell. By that, I mean, well, besides the actual thing, but also just anything around it. So when, like, women are exposing themselves or, saying this, saying that, and even men too, in a way too, with their shirts off and all that stuff. But anyways, the whole point of it though is that anything related to any kind of like sexual activity or just sex in general, it does make a profit, and it's something that obviously everybody wants or craves or whatever, more so men, because we're more like that, we're more visual creatures, we want to procreate and blah blah blah, all that stuff. Anyways, but yeah, I wanted to just get like a brief analysis of that part, and that like I said too, this has been a issue, and of course something that something that really shouldn't be normalized, because it's not. And I know one argument too that a lot of men have been saying too, mainly like I guess like the red pill ish, if not like the men who are out here trying to say, oh, it's okay to, sleep around with a lot of women because, due to our biology, oh, excuse me, a bird. Anyways, but like due to our biology and due to how, the laws of nature, how, the males are always trying to procreate, they're trying to spread the seed around, and blah, 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 all that stuff, right? And I will admit that is true. Okay, as a man myself, yes, it is true that we want to procreate, and as God will say, to be fruitful and multiply, right? Here's the thing though. When that happens, we're supposed to do that with the one woman we are with, okay? AKA our wife. The woman that, we are, married to, we have our vows to, like all that stuff, So that's what it is. And we procreate with her and make multiple children with her, not anyone else, and like all that stuff. And that's what it basically is. So like the parts of where I completely understand, and yes, I agree that men want to multiply, of course, and want to do that because that's in our nature, that's in our hardwired brains and everything, right, and so forth. But again, though, it's supposed to be with the one woman that you are with, and not just many others. And yes, I know throughout history that's obviously been a thing where like like the king or like the quote alpha male has many wives or many women to do that, mess around and procreate, blah blah, all that stuff, which I get it, especially if you're trying to like repopulate. Because here's the thing, what, a little bit on that too, if you're trying to repopulate, right, which is better, if you got like one woman, right, with let's say 10 men, right, and on the other side you got one man with 10 women, which side is going to have the better chance to repopulate or have a better chance of survival? It's not rocket science, honestly, and it's pretty simple if you think about it. The man's able to, get all these 10 women, pregnant and create all these babies. And to be honest, you can have one man with 1,000 women, and you can do that and just repopulate like this, like really easily. However, if you have one woman with all these men out here, it's gonna be a very slow process, and that's not gonna work at all, And just, I don't know. But that's like the, science and nature, behind that. But like I said, though, we're not just simple creatures. We're not, animals. we're not like beasts or so forth. Yeah, of course, we're technically, I guess, are animals, in a way and so forth. And yes, we do follow, similar laws to like a freaking lion, or whatever else, right? But we are human beings. We have intelligence. We know, or we should know, right from wrong, common sense and all that stuff, right? So I wouldn't take myself that low to where like, oh, biology and by laws of nature, we should be able to do this. Like, no, I'm not going to say like, yeah, oh yeah, you're definitely right. We should, demote ourselves to just being animals, right? Just go by all that stuff. No, that's not me. And also too, because, as a Christian myself too, I believe in the whole, what's it again? Monogamy? I think that's how you say it. But basically, it's sticking with one person, and not just going around and everything and so forth. Anyways, so sorry if that brief history, brief thing, whatever, so forth. But this pretty much like helps out with my topic, or like the point of it is that like you have these men doing all that stuff, right? With these women. So like that's how the men see it right there. On the other side, you have these women over here who are, like I said again, that validation or that trade or that tension or something is coming out of it. Because this kind of goes back to what I said earlier with the whole 1 man and like 10 women thing, right? Apparently, to me it's unfortunate. Okay, here I'm gonna make this clear. Whatever. Okay, is that what I'm saying is that I'm like against all this. Due to my beliefs and morals and all that stuff. So I want to make that clear. So there's that. But anyways, it's like very unfortunate to me at least. It's how like you have some of these women out here who are actually willing and actually are okay with sharing the guy. The reason being is because, like I said earlier, it's either something that she's getting out of it. So that could be money, that could be shelter, that could be just the attention, validation, just something out of it. Which is why some women are, like I said, totally okay with sharing the one guy, and just be like, yeah, sure, And in a way, I guess if you want to look kind of deep into it, it's kind of like a survival, like instinct or a survival way of them to, survive, right? By that I mean like having food, shelter, and all that stuff, and money and income, blah blah, this and that. But anyways, and yeah, like I said too, it's just sad because like it's not only that too though, but it's also because of how they grew up, you could say, because how our society has been, failing, and how it's been, fallen and like all that stuff, to where, hookup culture is pretty much like normalized. And I made a video about that, and so forth. But yeah, like how hookup culture is normalized and how it's okay to mess around. It's okay to have your options, this and that. Now I'm not saying here that one part right there. Here's one thing that bugs me about that part is where they say like, oh, you can date and have multiple options to see who's best fit, which is true. I will say that same thing goes for men too. The difference is though, when they usually say that, they mean like, yeah, talk to multiple people, but you can also, mess around with them too. You can also do this too. You can get blah, blah, all stuff, right? The problem with that though is that what happens if you get pregnant? What happens if you catch something? What happens if, some kind of huge drama happens between you and someone else, It's like that. And for me, it's like, yeah, you can talk to multiple people, but who's telling you to, go further with them? You know what I'm talking about? So it's like you talk to someone, get to know them. Okay, cool. You're also talking to someone else too. You get to know them and so forth, right? Which again, I think that's fine, to have options and to like talk to people. However, it's like for me personally, right? Like, yeah, I've had friends who are girls more than guys and this and so forth. And yes, I will admit some of those friends I did find attractive, and yeah, I was trying to get to know them, and yeah, I was trying to see, I guess who would be the best fit for me in a way, But the thing was though, I was still friends with them, and that was it. I wasn't trying to be romantic with them. I wasn't trying to like get with them exactly, or like all that stuff, right? But it also kind of helped me to eliminate, I guess, like my options, you could say, or help me be like, okay, well, she's like this, so I don't really want, that. But anyways, I think I'm kind of going off topic right now. I'm sorry, but anyways, going back to the whole, how women want and think and so forth. Yeah, like I said, just the whole like, she's like getting something out of it, and oh, yes, right, yeah. So like, she's being raised like with that, right, or like being raised or see that around or see how it works, that's the thing too. It's like, oh, well, it's working for so and so, so maybe I should try it too. Oh, hey, it's working for me too. The thing is too is that like when that happens, it's like, yeah, sure, it's working for you in the moment, that's the key word, in the moment. So present time and everything, yeah, you could be like, oh, this is awesome, this is good, this is whatever else. But then it's like, what about the long run? What about the future? What about what happens to you afterwards or whatever else, I guess, And that's one thing that women don't really think about. Actually, just people in general don't think about either, because even guys will just be like, oh, I want to live in a moment, and then something, bad might happen or whatever. But it's just kind of crazy. It really is. And of course, it's just our society of its degeneracy, and just like I said too, how hookup culture has been normalized, and pretty much our society has become very sexual too. And maybe I'll make a video on that part too, because boy, that's a topic. Anyways, but yeah, and I'm just not really for it. And again too, like going back to the whole survival thing, because and going back to what I said too about the whole sex sales thing, that it's all for the money, right? Like, here, I'll give you an example on this too. Well, of the OFs, the OnlyFans, which I hate that much. I hate it so much, I really do. But it's like that, to where they are literally selling themselves, for money, because they believe that that's their validation, or like that's the only value is their bodies and looks. Which, yes, that is one of the greatest values that a woman has to herself, is her beauty, her looks, because men are visual creatures, like I said. But it's unfortunate how these women around here, are selling themselves, and they get to the point to where they truly believe that that's all they got, Like, I remember watching this one old clip. It was like a few years ago, I believe so, where like this one OnlyFans model actually admitted how she hates it, and that she truly believed that the only thing she had for her were her looks and her body. And that she was doing that, to get some money, which clearly was working, because men don't buy that crap, and I just don't understand it. I really don't. Even when it comes to like strip clubs and all that stuff too, it's like, I get it, you want to pay money to see them, like nude and this and that, right? But it's like, and I'm not trying to I'm not trying to advocate for corn, okay. Corn, okay, YouTube, whatever. But it's just like, you can see that stuff for free, online. I'm just saying, for free. But yes, I know they want that, like that personal connection. Whether if it's OnlyFans, they want that connection with that person, because hey, I am directly talking to you, and I'm seeing your body, Whereas if you go to like a club, oh, it's kind of the same thing. Well, kind of, depending on what happens, I guess in the situation. But also you get that physical connection, that touch, right? So I get that part. But at the same time too, it's just like, why would you spend your money on that? I mean, really, it's like, you can just get the same kind of things for free by doing other things. But again, I'm not trying to advocate for corn or or all that stuff, okay? I'm just saying, like, if I'm thinking logically speaking, real world, then yeah. Anyways, I just think it's stupid. But anyways, back to the clip thing. So yeah, so basically this girl, right? She's saying how she hates it and everything, and then that's her only validation is just her appearance. And for me, it was very sad, and she was even crying too. And she was even admitting how like she doesn't know how to cook, she doesn't know how to like do this or do that. She doesn't know basically how to be a wife, and like all this stuff. And for me, I find that very, very sad, because I mean, what? Even when you have these women out here, right, or these girls who don't do it, yeah, and they probably don't know how to do all that stuff either. Or to some people, those are basic needs of like how to like do that, which is true, But you can always learn, like nothing stopping you from learning that. Nothing stopping you from honing your skills and, you know, becoming a better person, you know? So this whole brainwashing mindset nonsense, you could say, of this is all I can do, for myself. It's like, no, like there are other ways to earn money. There are other ways to, do some good for yourself and everything. And I strongly believe that. And for me, I strongly support that too, because I truly hate, how these women out here are just, selling themselves and demoting themselves to pretty much just objects. I mean, what, it's so normalized on that to where you see women out here on the streets or out in public like half naked, like like wearing like booty shorts and this and that so forth, and then they'll say, oh, it's comfortable, or oh, it's high. It's just like, oh, come on, really? like yeah, it's high, and yeah, and maybe it is comfortable, but dang well, of course, dang well that that there are many other outfits that you could wear that can still keep you cool and also cover you up in a way and so forth. Granted, I know some women can't cover up because of their curves, depending if you have like a big bust or big butt and all that stuff, right? Which I totally understand that. And for that too, it's like, hey, you can't hide them. Oh, well, that's just how your body is, so hey, just own it. But at the same time too, you can still cover up. You can still have some modesty for yourself, But anyways, but it's just like that. And so my thoughts on that are just like, it's just kind of crazy. But besides that, though, I did want to share some stories or some, I guess say like people who I knew who shared their experience with me too. Like here, one girl that I knew. Let's call her D, right? Now D, she had a huge crush on a friend of mine, right? Because she said like, oh, he's handsome, he's cool, blah blah, all that stuff, right? When for me personally, the guy, let's call him T, right? So T over here, I knew that he was a player, that they talked to many girls, and that he would try to get with them. If he did, he did. If he didn't, he didn't. It wasn't like a big deal, and everything. And I knew that he knew. Or like that he knew that he was good looking and all that stuff, right? So that's how he was able to get with the girls and this and that, so forth. But anyways, D over here, I was telling her about him and saying like, well, yeah, he is a like what T. Besides being a player and this and that, he actually was a decent guy or a good guy kind of overall. Just that he just has some bad choices, right? But anyways, so I was telling D about him and this and that so forth, and I was like, I'm not sure, like yeah, he's cool and everything, but there's some things about him, this and that, right? Basically, I'm trying to give her like a heads up or like a warning, I guess you could say, to be like, well, if you end up with him, then fine. However, don't expect everything to be perfect, basically. And then she was just like, well, it'd be fine. I still want him, this and that. And I'm like, all right. It's just one of those things to where, I have my friends coming to me, tell me what they like, and try to get some advice, and I give it to them, and they don't want to take it or listen. Anyways, so kind of fast forward about that. So D and T finally, start talking and this and that, right? And it was over at my place because all of us were together, having like a party, this and that, right? So then some of my friends and family, wanted to spend a night and everything. That's how close we all were, and we had trust for each other and everything, right? So apparently, overnight, I noticed that T wasn't in my room because it was me, him, and then someone else. Pretty much all the guys slept in my room, right? And all the girls slept in my other rooms. Sorry, I had to think for a second. But anyways, so they slept in the other rooms, right? But anyways, so in the middle of the night, I noticed that T wasn't there. I was like, okay, but I'm not stupid. I knew what was happening. So I'm like, okay, so he's obviously with D, and they're probably just talking or doing something, overnight, middle of the night, whatever. So I go back to bed, and then, morning comes in, right? Next day, T is still sleeping. However, D is awake. So she comes to me, and then she tells me, so yeah, I finally, got with T, blah, blah. I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, okay, well, how was it? Because besides her saying how handsome he was and everything, she also assumed that he was probably, good in bed. as well, right? And then she comes to me. This is so funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, so she comes to me, right? And like, I can't stop laughing. I'm sorry, because I was like, wait, what? But anyway, so she comes to me, right? And then she tells me about the experience, how they were talking and they were flirting and blah blah, right? And then yeah, they finally did it, right, and everything. But then she comes to me and she gives like a disappointing face. I was like, what? And then she says like, well, yeah, we talked and this and that, but then it's just like when it got to it, I just wasn't impressed, and I was busting out laughing. I was like, wait, what? Because I was okay. At this point, I was curious. I was like, okay, give me a detail. Tell me what happened. Because the way I saw T, right? Again, like he was a player, handsome, this and that, blah blah. So pretty much, it's like those good-looking guys, right? Where you would probably expect him to be a good with ladies in bed and like all stuff, right? And so forth. But it's the opposite, apparently. According to her, she said that yeah, well, it happened. It only lasted for like a few minutes. He was doing his own thing. He didn't care about what I liked it. He didn't care about this. He didn't care about that. So pretty much, he just got what he wanted, and then that was it. And he just did everything on his own accord. And she said like once he finished, this and that, he just went back to bed and just didn't bother. And she was like, that was it. I will never forget that, because that just like blew my mind. It's like, okay, so this is a perfect example of like that one guy who you think it's like all that turns out not really. But I was like, hey, you want this and everything? She's like, yeah, I know, and finally got it. But basically, with this right here, it's like at the end of the day, she didn't have to do that, because again, I was giving her a about how he is and this and that. Well, except that part. I didn't know that part. But the point of this though is that like she wanted him, and she wanted like something out of him too, because like again before all that too, she did wanted his attention and everything, and besides wants him sexually and everything. She also kind of briefly told me how she wanted to give it up to pretty much get that validation as well. Oh, you know what? Speaking of that too, if I had to rewind about that too, before all this happened, this happened when me and her were talking, me and D. So before all that stuff happened, right? When she was still having her V card actually, because she did do it before she did with him. But when she had her V card, which was not too long ago before that happened, right? She was telling me how badly she wanted to lose it. And for me, that I was like, huh? Now, here's the thing. Granted, I've heard like that stuff coming from guys, back in high school. And again, I mentioned this in my other video too, where like back in high school, it was like the pressure to lose your V card or this and that, right? For guys. When it came to girls, it's like it was kind of like in their minds, but it was more like, I want to give it up to show them how much I care, Excuse me. So it was like that. But with her, no, she wanted to lose it because she said like, oh well, I'm like 17, this and that, so forth. So I just wanted to lose it and this and that, blah blah. So she basically just wanted to lose it before I guess she graduated or whatever and this and that, right? But as far as I knew, coming from her, okay? But coming from her, she by the time she graduated from high school, she still was, a virgin, this and that, and she was still telling me about it. And then she told me how she met this guy, actually, and that she chose him, besides them being friends, but she chose him to be the first one, And she was telling me about her plan, this and that, so forth. But I was like, look, you don't have to do this, You don't have to just lose it. You don't have to just give it up just because you feel like you should or something like that. I told her that if she does, it should be with someone that, excuse me, that she actually does care for, or someone who actually cares for her back. Obviously, and like I said this too before, is that, save yourself for marriage. That's the ultimate thing that everybody should be doing. I will say that. However, due to how our society is and everything, the least thing that I would say then is, look, if you're gonna do it, at least be with someone who you trust. By that I mean in case, she gets pregnant or someone catches something, or anything else, So pretty much like if anything happens, the other person will be there for you, and support you, stick around, and hopefully, you two, create a relationship or something together. So that's my thing. But anyways, so excuse me. So I was like telling her all this stuff, right? And even though I was telling her all this stuff, she's like, "Well, I mean, I'm still gonna do this and that." And I was like, all right, if you want, all right." And then, of course, eventually it happened, and she said she lost it, and she was telling me about the experience, saying how it kind of hurt at first and this and that, blah blah, right? But it seemed like she was satisfied. But anyways, but again, it's just like with her, it's just like she was just giving up just because, or just because she wanted to lose it. But I didn't ask her deep into it why exactly. I mean, yeah, I kind of asked her why, but I felt like maybe there was like more to it. Like maybe she felt like pressured. Maybe she felt like she was being left behind, even though that's stupid, and just, I don't know. But that's the story with her, right? About her just giving it up just because, I guess. But anyways, then here's another story too that I have with someone else. So for this one right here, let's call her Bree. With Bree, I knew her since when we were kids, and she, put it nicely, I guess, she wasn't that good looking. Okay, she wasn't that good looking. She was a bit overweight and all that stuff, right? And she had a huge crush on me. She had a huge crush on me. She was seriously like, basically, this was at church, right? And if I recall right, I think I was like maybe like 10. No, not 10. Like somewhere between like 10 to 12, I think. I was like preteen, right? And she was, I think, like maybe like 2 years younger than me or something like that. But yeah, she had a huge crush on me. She kept following me. She wanted to like hold my arm, hold my hand, all that stuff, and I was hard to stop. Anyways, but she had a huge crush on me for like years actually too. It wasn't just like one thing. It was like, no, she had a longer crush on me, and it was to the point to where, I think she pretty much like had a huge crush on me for another, like, I want to say 8 years. Yeah, it was like 8 years or something. And I say that though because this is the one part that I'm gonna mention, is that like with her, as she got older, she still was not like the prettiest, I will say, but I guess like she was becoming a better person. She had a a good personality. Basically, she was a good person, right? And so forth. So I guess she had that. But anyways, so fast forward years later, and like me and her were talking, still a bit, at church, and kind of like texting each other a bit, because I decided to give her her number years later when she finally like calmed down on the whole crushing and everything, But I can tell she still liked me, right? But anyways, so me and her we're talking and this and that and so forth, and then she drops this bomb on me, like kind of like almost out of nowhere, and to this day I haven't really asked her why she wanted to tell me and everything, but I kind of figured because she trusted me and that we knew each other for like years, right? Which again is a thing that that I've had with other people as well. But anyway, so she was talking to me. And she was telling me how she was talking to more guys. And I'm like, okay. So I figured like, she was gaining more confidence in herself, which she kind of was actually too, So I will give her credit for that she was gaining more confidence in herself on who she was and everything, besides just, what she had in her hand or like what she dealt with, right? When it came to appearance. Because I will say that even though she was like okay looking in the face and everything, that I can tell that she was trying to, you could say, like work out her body in a way. So there's that. But anyways, so she was talking to me, and then she was telling me how she was meeting like these guys, And I was like, okay. But then she then tells me that she's been doing stuff with them, and I'm like, okay. I mean, all right, I guess that's fine. But here's the bomb part, is that like she wasn't just doing stuff with them. But apparently she was selling her stuff. They were paying for things, and I was like, oh my god. And like I said too, I knew this girl for years, right? You know, since we were kids and this and that and so forth. And you know what? It's hard because here, like this kind of goes back to my old video with my ex best friend, and it's just kind of heartbreaking when you knew someone for years, you know, especially as kids and growing up, you know, it's like young adults, and then you just find out all the stuff that they do. It's just like, dude, like what happened, you know? I mean, with her, like I kind of know what happened, this and that. So basically, and this is what she told me too, is that she came to the point to where, you know, she felt like she needed like validation, you know, or like or like this was the way to get attention from guys is if she sold herself. So apparently, in her school, you know, yeah, school. So check that, like you know. But anyways, so this was happening, and like she was talking to guys and so forth, right? And then she was like, you know, saying this and that, so forth. And it's like, hey, well, you know, I'm willing to do this and this and that. And of course the guys will agree. And then they'll apparently, according to her, she said that they'll go back to like you know her place when her parents are gone or no one's there. And then she invites them, and then so on and so forth. You know, you get the picture. And she told me about her experiences. She told me that she's like done it with like even two guys at once and everything. I was like, oh my gosh, like what? She was just like giving me details and everything. And I'm like, jeez. And then that's when I got to the point I was like, what? Oh, you know what? Here, before I say this, whatever, really quick. Then she even drops a bigger thing on me, or not much of a bigger, but probably as big, is that while she was telling me this, right? And like, she said, oh, but hey, with you, it can be for free. I was like, excuse me? I was like, excuse me? Now here. I do want to clarify this too, however. Yes, I did say school, okay, and so forth. I will say that, yes, I did say school, this happened, this and that, so forth. However, by the time she told me this, she was 18, you know, and she was still in it, but she turned 18, this and that, right? And the things that she was telling me was like there and before. So I just want to clarify that, all right? is that she's 18. But anyways, so yeah, so then she says, but with you, like, you know, it'll be for free because, you know, I know you for a long time and that I like you and this and that, blah, blah. I was like, okay. I was like, oh, wow, all right. And I'm just like, I was in shock. I was like, so you're doing all this and now you're basically offering for me, you know, like free and this and that so forth because, you know, this and that, right? But then like in that moment, like how I'm feeling right now, right? Because I'm thinking back and I'm just like, Jesus, you know, it's like, what's this? It's just crazy. But anyways, in this moment right here, I was like, why? What are you doing? You know? And she was kind of confused at first, but I was like, no, seriously, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? You know? And right here, like yeah, like, you know, throughout the years of like knowing each other, you know, I never lied to her back. I never, you know, like received her feelings and like all that stuff, right? You know, and yeah, she was a bit annoying to me and everything. But at this moment right here, you know, I treated her as a, like I guess say like I was like say equal though, but basically I cared enough to where I was like seriously like why, you know. But and then I was like, so why are you doing this? What's going on? This and that. Then she got kind of quiet, and then that's when she started to just tell me everything, you know, of how she truly felt. She said that, you know, that she admit that she wasn't the best looking girl and everything, and that she actually craved, you know, attention. She actually craved, you know, boys to, you know, acknowledge her and this and that. Besides just talking to her, but she wanted, you know, them to see her as like a pretty girl or something like that. To where she got desperate to the point to where she figured that she would just give up like you know, her body and at the same time too, probably even like, you know, get something out of it, you know, basically money. So then she started doing that, and then like of course the guys would agree because hey, they were getting some, you know, and yeah, they would also up here too and this and that. So that's what's happening. But basically the reason why she did this was just for the validation, was just for the attention, just to say like someone to knows her. And then when she was telling me this, she started crying, because she knew this was wrong. Like she knew that she had done this, and she even told me too that she had some regrets about who she was with and this and that's over. But that's how badly she wanted that attention. That's how badly she wanted that validation. That's how badly she wanted someone to just give her something, And then she was crying, and for me, I was getting, I guess, teared up too, a bit, whatever, because like I said, I know her since we were kids, and I see her like this, and I was like, I'm just like, dang, So then I told her, her had like a conversation about it more, this and that, so forth. And then I pretty much just told her, you gotta stop, you have to, I told her, I don't know how many guys you've been with, I don't know how much money you had over this, I don't care, doesn't matter, but this has to stop. It really does. And she was hesitant, at first, And I said at first though because me and her actually talked about this, I think like 2 more times, afterwards. And I kept telling her the same thing. I told her, you gotta stop, and I told her, you are better than this. And then I was just being honest with her too. I told her, yeah, I will admit, that you're not the best looking girl, this and that, so forth, and blah, 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 So, I mean, yeah, that might sound harsh. But I'm like, dang, you told her that? Yeah, but here's the thing though, like I said, I saw her as my friend or as someone like saying, no, I gotta be real with her, and that's who I am too, It's just like, no, I want to call you out on this, and then, I'm doing this because I care, and I want you to be on the, right path, into this. So that's what I did, and I told her that. And then she finally, I guess, like, took it in consideration, And then me and her kind of stopped talking for like a few days and this and that. And then she finally, I guess, like, calls me back, And then she says, I'm done. And I was like, okay, done what? And she says, I'm done. Like that. Like, yeah, you're right. Like this whole entire time, I just want to, the attention. I just want someone to acknowledge me and this and that. And she was just pouring it out on me. But then she says ultimately that, yeah, that, I was right, that she shouldn't be doing this. This is wrong, and so on and so forth. Now, the thing was too is that like while this was happening, they were wearing protection, this and that, over. So she says she's fine, all that, right, But yeah, she said that she had to look at herself and look at what was happening, and then she said that she was done. Now, the funny thing is though is that of course I was proud of her, I said, yeah, good for you, this and that. I mean, her, we're talking a bit still. And then she was, the funny part about this is that she said, you know what, even though I'm done and everything and so forth, if you want, I'll still give you this one last chance if you want to, and you can do anything you want. And I'm like, nope. No, I was like, no, because here's here. I'm a good guy, okay? I can say myself a good guy. Now, granted, if I was like, I don't know, desperate, if I was just like the one person says, hey, she's offering, so why not, then yeah, I probably would say yes. I'd be like, yeah, sure, let's do it, but ultimately I was like, no, I can't, no. No. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tempted, obviously, but I'm like, no, just no. You said you were done, you are done, okay? And let's nail that right there. Let's finalize it, blah blah blah. And then she said, yeah, you're right, I was just offering it to you and so forth because I wouldn't mind if you were my last one, this and that. I was like, yeah, well, I appreciate it, but nah, I'm good. And then I remember right there too, she said, you know what, that's why I like you so much, because of who you are, and thanks for helping me out and this and that, so forth. And then that was pretty much the last time I talked to her, I think. So I don't know what happened afterwards. I'm not sure if she like resumed it, or she really just stopped and waited, but I don't know, Of course I hope she didn't go back to that and everything, but it is what it is. But yeah, so there's that. And then probably one other one that I can share too is this other friend who I met as well, later on. Excuse me, man. I don't know what I ate earlier. I mean, I know what I ate, but thing. Anyways, so yeah, so this other one, let's call her, let's see. I'm trying to think of a made up name. Let's call her Mary, right? So with Mary, me and her met, I want to say, like, not a few years ago, because no. But basically, this was around time to where, I was in college, right? And everything. But me and her met, and to me, she was, beautiful, and that she was, a cool person and everything, right? And then once me and her got, closer and everything, she then starts telling me about her life. And she said that she used to strip, she used to show off her body and this and that, so forth. I mean, like, at the time, she kind of still show off her body, I guess you could say, because, she had curves and everything, right? But at that time, though, she just stopped stripping, and everything. But also at that time, too, she also was, let's see. She was basically also selling herself, too. The thing with her, though, is that, like, it wasn't really with multiple guys. It was just with the one guy, And she said that that she met him through a friend of hers, and how he basically, like, had money and this and that, blah, blah, blah. The only thing that he wanted, from her was her body, obviously, And due to certain situations that happened, which I'll get to briefly in a bit, is that she agreed and so on and so forth. So that happened, and then she was messing with him, and in return he would buy her stuff and this and that, right? So now think about it. What I think she even admit that what he was, like, basically a pimp, I think, because, like, it wasn't just her, it was, like, someone else too, and then whatever else. Anyways, but yeah, so that was happening, and for me, I was like, oh wow, okay, and that gave me a signal. I'm like, well, she's off my list of potential partners, I guess. Anyways, but even so, though, I was still friends with her, and I did feel bad about her situation and what she was telling me. So then I was pretty much trying to, at that point, convince her to stop, because that's who I am, like, I'll call you out and then I'll do what I can to steer her on the right path, even that means that, So then I was trying to convince her to stop and tell her how that's wrong, this and that. And she didn't really want to do it at first, She was saying how she was, getting a lot of money from him, and how the guy was buying her things, and that, this and that, blah, blah, right, But as we were talking about this, as time went on, I mean, her got closer and this and that, right? She then starts telling me, I guess, like, her past of how this all kind of started. She said, like, back in high school and everything, she was pretty, right, and everything, and that she wore tight clothes, but fitting clothes, right, But the thing was, though, is that, like, because of her curves and everything, according to people around her, even her school, it was a bit too much. And the funny part about that is that she wasn't even trying to expose herself much, like, she was covered up and everything, but the way her body was, it was like, it is what it is, and that's why I advocate for women who have trouble covering themselves up because of their curves, whether that's big butts, big butt, white hips, all that stuff, right? Like for me, they said, no matter what I wear, I can't cover myself up. Like, well, I mean, it is what it is, like, hey, it's what it is. Do your best to, look as modest as you can. But I mean, hey, if they're showing, then they're showing, own it. But anyways, but that's pretty much what happened to her in high school, right? And then she pretty much got, like, bullied off of that, which I'm like, wow, really? So she got bullied. People were calling her names, slut and this and that, and of course they were accusing her of actually, being with, other boys over there, in high school, where she told me she wasn't, that she still was a virgin and that she didn't mess around, this and that, so forth. But people assumed that of her because of how she looked, which is a shame. It really is, because I've heard stories like that too from other girls before, where they tell me like they'll get picked on by other girls who are like, just like jealous of them, or how these are guys would be around them only because of how they looked and everything, right? But that was like her situation. So then, after high school, right? She didn't go to college, but she was like, working, I guess you could say. And then she had a friend, and this friend was telling her how she could make a lot of money, right? And she's like, okay. So then her friend said that she knew a guy who was giving out money and giving out things, blah blah. Basically telling her like, hey, this guy will give you money and all that stuff and whatever, and you don't have to worry about it. And she's like, okay. But the thing was though, her friend and here her friend did mention this part, but not too much about it. How what she had to do, like what was the trade right here, right? The trade or the catch was that like the guy will do will give you things, however in return that you would also do things for him as well. And her friend, or I don't want to say friend, but basically this person, right? Pretty much this other woman didn't really go into details about what she had to do exactly. Excuse me. So I guess that was like the messed up part about this. So Mary says, okay, cool. So both of them go out. They meet up with this guy, and then as soon as they got there, she said that she felt like a uneasy like vibe or presence from the guy, and just like what was happening. And then that's when she kind of knew like, oh, this is what she meant. And then she pretty much got the picture, saying like, okay, so this guy gives her money, gives her stuff, and of course in return she has to offer herself up, in a way. And of course, Mary was not for this, because according to her, she was still had a red card and this and that, right, and then she wanted to tell her friend like hey, like I want to get out of here, right, but her friend was trying to convince her to stick around still, but Mary, I want to go. So then her friend or whatever said, okay, fine, that's fine, but at least just stick around and just like mingle and chat for a bit. And Mary said, okay. So while they were chatting this and that, Mary actually was also kind of drinking as well, and she stuck around longer than I guess like the plan was, and so on and so forth. And here, this part here is kind of hard for me to say because, like I said, like here, I care, and everything. But if you're not stupid, and if you're an adult, right, you pretty much see, I guess, what I'm trying to go with this, right here, in this part right here. And it's that like as the night went on, something happened with Mary and with the guy, to where she no longer, I guess, like had a car still. But that happened while she had no idea what was going on, So that happened right there. But so that happened, and of course she was, devastated and this and so forth and whatnot. Now the thing though about this is that like when that happened, right, she then just felt like she was kind of lost, didn't know what to do and this and that. And then that's when she decided that, what, I'm just gonna stay because this guy's giving me the money, and the things and everything. And according to her, that the guy was treating her well, was trying to be nice and all that stuff, right? But of course, of the crap that happened, it's just like, nah, this guy over here is just being fake, and just he got what he wanted, and now he just wants more of it and this and that. Boy, so that happened and everything. So then me and her were talking, right? I guess like present day at that time, and I was just shocked, like what? Even right now, I'm just like, dang, and I didn't know what to say exactly, and I was like, wow, I can't believe it. And then that's when I saw her started like tear up, about it because she knew it was wrong and this and that, right? So basically, like the whole entire time we were friends, she was putting up an act, trying to convince herself to say like, hey, everything's fine, when obviously it wasn't. So then me and her were talking about it, and she was telling me how that she was sticking around because of the money and this and that, right? But also she said that she felt some sort of a validation as well from the guy, which obviously that's not true, but she said that she was getting all the attention and like everything else, But anyway, so me and her were talking, and then I finally, got to the point to where I was telling her how that was wrong. I told her I'm sorry, and then I was pretty much just being there for her, right? And of course, she thanked me, and then she was very grateful to me, to where me and her got closer, and pretty much were like best friends in a way, you could say. And me and her just like kept talking and like this and that, right? But eventually though, there is a good ending to this, and I'll say this right now. So yeah, that was depressing, right? But it did end it on a good note on this part. Is that like after some time, she then finally came to me and said that she stopped, and I was like, huh? So then she said, yeah, she stopped. She said that she stopped talking to the guy, and here's the kind of like funny part. And to be honest, I think this was God's doing, honestly, in this part here, is that like when she finally wanted to stop, she actually had to tell the guy, obviously, and said, hey, I just want to, do this, right? And this part to where I think God kind of came in right here is how like the guy actually was okay with it. He didn't. Yeah. According to her, she said that the guy, I didn't want her to go, and it's not right, But she was able to convince him and said, no, like hey, I want to, live my life now. I want to, move forward. And apparently, according to her, okay, this is covering her right here. She said the guy was actually okay with it. Apparently he was, quote, sad or kind of upset about it, but he said that he had his time with her. It was all good and this and that, so forth. And yeah, and she said that they pretty much like cut ties, and she blocked him, this and that. And as far as I know, ever since then, things have been okay with her. And like even after that happened, me and her still talked a bit until eventually, me and her started talking, and she was telling me how she got a job, and how she was thinking about going back to school and like all that stuff. So, and on a good note, and it kind of makes me, I guess, like a bit emotional about it too, because me, I'm like good, like thank God for that. Yeah, that happened to her and Aaron and so forth, unfortunately, but at the end of the day and so forth, things turn out forward to. Oh, also too, even more good news about that too. She even did tell me that she went to the doctors too to get herself checked up and everything, and they said she was clean. So I'm like, oh, praise God, So she was clean, nothing wrong with her, and yeah, she was all good. So she got out of there all clean, good, and free. What? Anyways, but yeah, just those are just some of the what stories that I've seen, from like friends and people who I care about, about this stuff. And this all revolves around with the whole, women give themselves and sell themselves, because like it just shows you like it's just very unfortunate, it really is. Like you got all these women out here just telling each other like, oh, how good it is to do this, to sell themselves for the money. It's all about the freaking money. I swear, it's all about the money and this and that, so forth. It really is. If not, it's about the attention too, And from these three people who are shared their, story or whatever, those are, all the examples of it. And you had, the first one where she was like, whatever about it, Yeah, and they had the other two that, as far as I know, had like, good endings, you could say. But they went through that crap. They went through that misery, from it. And for me, it's just kind of baffling how I see this woman out here who are supposedly happy with their lives, the ones who are selling themselves, from whether that's corn, whether that's OnlyFans, whether that's stripping, like ain't like that, They said, oh, I'm fine, I got all this money and this and that, so forth. It's just like, I'm pretty sure some of them generally feel like that, some. But ultimately, I think most, and to be honest, I would even say even the some who says that they're happy are truly not happy. Like they put on this act, they put on this fakeness or whatever, so forth, to try to convince themselves, yeah, they're trying to convince others, but I'm pretty sure they're trying to convince themselves to say like, hey, everything's fine, And it's just very sad. It really is. And I'm like getting depressed about this. I don't know. It's just, And yeah, these are just my the awesome and like how I see all this and everything, and it's crazy, it really is. And I do feel for these women out here who are doing this. I mean, granted, yeah, there are some who just double, triple down on it so hard, where it's just like, okay, you know what? It is what it is now. You do you. I don't care anymore. Screw you. All this stuff. And in a way, I'm not saying I hope something happens to them, whatever, but I kind of also hope that something comes up to where it can quickly change their mind, and hopefully nothing like too bad or too damaging, but to the point to where they're like, okay, yeah, I need to stop, what I'm talking about, like something like that. Man, it's unfortunate how that has to happen to like a lot of people, to where like until something actually happens to them, then they'll stop, instead of just being like, you know what, this is wrong, I should just stop right now, before it's too late. And a lot of times sometimes it's too late. I don't know. But anyways, though, but that's enough about all that. But just like I said too, I just want to kind of just share that stuff a bit, and my thoughts about this whole selling stuff. And it's very unfortunate, and yeah, no woman should be going through it. No woman should be thinking that their only worth of value is their bodies, and so forth. Now, I will say that when that happens, it's because they're lacking like their fathers, and of course they have other bad examples from other women, whether that's their mother, that's their grandmother, or like their friends, sisters, or whoever else that may be. It's very unfortunate how they surround themselves with that, and like I said too, the absence of a father, because that's also a big deal too, and it's sad, but there are some of those who go through that too, but are smart enough to be like, no, who have the common sense to know that that's wrong and all that stuff. So blessings and prayers for them, and of course for everyone else to like just get out of that. Now, would I say that I hope all this stops? I mean, yeah, I hope and pray it does, but I highly doubt that that's gonna completely stop, I will say, but just hope that everything is better and everything. But that's it for this video right here, and oh my gosh, I kind of went deep on this one right here, right? Anyways, but I thank you for the time. I thank you for your patience and just hear me out, especially if you heard all those 3 stories that I gave out, and much respect to them, and I pray that and hope that everything is well for them as of right now in the future, right? But thank you for listening, thank you for your time, and hope all of you have a blessed week, day, year, so on and so forth.